The sky of Zaran 5 was dark and stormy. Thick purple clouds moved fast across the sky. The wind screamed like a wild animal, shaking the tall black trees of the alien jungle. Zalari, a young alien soldier, sat inside her patrol ship, watching the storm outside with sharp eyes. Her blue skin was glowing faintly under the dim lights of the cockpit. Her mission was simple: scan the area for any human activity, then return to base. Zaran 5 was not friendly to humans, and her people had strict orders to capture or eliminate any intruders. But today, something felt different as the ship flew. Low over the jungle, a sudden flash of light hit the side. The alarm started to scream, and the ship shook violently. Engine damage. The pilot shouted, "We're going down." Zalari grabbed the seat handles tightly as the ship spun out of control. The jungle came closer and closer until boom. The ship crashed into the trees and hit the ground with a loud explosion. Sparks flew, metal bent, and smoke filled the air. Zalari blacked out for a moment, her head hitting the control panel. When she opened her eyes, everything was quiet. She was alive but badly injured. Her arm was bleeding, and a piece of metal was stuck in her side. Pain shot through her body as she tried to move. The pilot was dead, and the communication system was broken. She was alone, deep in the jungle. Hours passed and she grew weaker. Her alien body was strong, but the wound was too deep. Her blood was dark blue and wouldn't stop flowing. She activated her emergency signal and waited, hoping someone from her base would find her, but no one came. Just when she began to lose hope, she heard footsteps, not her people, but a human. A man in a simple spacesuit appeared from behind the trees. His face was tired, dirty, but alert. He was holding his hands up, showing he had no weapon. "My name is Dr. Arlen," he said in a calm voice. "I'm not here to hurt you." Zalari aimed her blaster at him with her shaking hand. "Stay back," she warned, but she could barely keep the weapon straight. "You're bleeding," Arlen said, looking at her injury. "If you don't get help, you'll die." She didn't answer. Her body was going numb. Arlen slowly stepped closer, carefully putting down his backpack. "I have medical training," he said. "I can save you." Zalari looked at him with confusion and fear. "Your medicine won't work on me," she whispered. "Your biology is different." "I know," Arlen said, "but maybe my blood can help." Zalari stared at him, shocked. "That's insane," she said. "Human blood won't match." "I studied alien DNA," he replied. "It's possible, under extreme cases, the body can adapt." She was losing consciousness, her heartbeat slowing down. "I'm dying," she thought, "and I'm trusting a human." She nodded weakly, and Arlen got to work. He used a small machine from his bag to extract some of his blood. Then he connected it to a transfusion device. Zalari closed her eyes as the human blood entered her veins. Minutes passed, then an hour. Slowly, the bleeding stopped. Her heartbeat grew stronger. Her skin color returned to normal. She was alive. She opened her eyes and looked at Arlen, who was sitting nearby, watching her closely. "You saved me," she said, surprised. "I didn't expect that." "You're welcome," he said with a tired smile. Then, something strange happened. The medical scanner next to her beeped, showing new data. Her body was changing. Strange signals were coming from her cells. She sat up confused and looked at the screen. "No, this can't be," she whispered. She checked the scan again, her hands shaking. Then she looked at Arlen, shocked and scared. "There's something growing inside me," she said. "What do you mean?" he asked. Zalari's eyes widened as the scanner showed the impossible. "I'm pregnant," she said slowly. There was silence. Arlen looked at her in disbelief. "But how?" he asked. She shook her head, unable to answer. "This has never happened before," she said. "My people don't reproduce like this." Then the scanner showed another result. The child inside her had human and alien DNA. It wasn't just a child. It was something new, something never seen before. Zalari looked at Arlen again, this time with fear. "What did your blood do to me?" she asked. Zalari sat in silence, her eyes fixed on the blinking medical screen. Her heart beat fast, not from fear of death anymore, but from something worse. She had survived, but now she was changing inside her. Something new was growing. She looked at Arlen, the human doctor who had saved her life, but now he was also the reason for this. Pregnancy. How is this possible? She whispered, her voice shaky. Arlen stepped closer, staring at the scanner. He didn't speak for a few seconds. Just read the strange alien data. Then he said softly, "It's not a normal pregnancy. The embryo, it's not fully human, not fully alien. It's a hybrid." Zalari's breath caught in her throat. Hybrid. That word had never existed in her people's science books. Human and alien DNA weren't meant to mix. This can't be real, she said, standing slowly, her legs weak, but her body felt different. She could hear sounds from far away, feel vibrations in the air. Her senses were sharper, stronger. Her skin glowed brighter, and there was a warmth in her chest. Something was changing her from inside. "It's the blood," Arlen said, thinking aloud. "My blood has something. A protein maybe, or a code. Your body didn't just heal. It reacted." Zalari turned toward him, her eyes sharp. "What does this mean?" she asked. "What will happen to me?" "I don't know," he replied honestly. "This is something completely new." Before they could speak more, a loud sound came from outside. A deep roar echoed through the jungle. Arlen's face turned pale. "What was that?" Zalari asked, grabbing her weapon. "That's not a beast," he said. "That's a hunting drone Zarian military." Her eyes narrowed. "My people," she said. "They must have picked up the emergency signal. If they find you here, and this," she looked down at her stomach, "they will kill us both." She moved quickly, grabbing what was left of her armor and weapons. Arlen packed his gear, his mind racing. They both knew the truth now. This was not just about survival. This was about protecting something that wasn't supposed to exist. They stepped outside the crashed ship and into the jungle. The sky was dark, the storm still raging, but they had to keep moving. Zalari's senses guided them. She could now hear the hum of machines from far away. "My body is changing," she said. "I can feel it." Arlen nodded, watching her carefully. "You're stronger," he said. "Faster too. But what about the child?" Zalari didn't answer, her hand resting on her stomach. "I don't know what it is," she whispered, "but it's alive." Hours passed as they moved through thick trees and glowing plants. The jungle was alive with sounds, some beautiful, others terrifying. Suddenly, Zalari stopped. Raising her hand, she crouched low, pulling Arlen down with her. Ahead, a patrol of alien soldiers stood near a broken drone. They were scanning the area, searching for survivors. Zalari's breath slowed. Those were her people, but if they knew what was inside her, they wouldn't hesitate to kill her. "We can't go back," she whispered. "Not now." Arlen looked at her. "Where will we go?" She pointed north. "There's an old outpost, abandoned during the last war. If we can reach it, we can hide, maybe find more answers." They waited for the soldiers to leave, then moved quietly through the shadows. But even as they ran, Zalari could feel something stirring inside her, not just life, power. She could feel energy moving in her blood. Her hands glowed faintly when she touched the trees, and once, when a thorny plant blocked their way, it burned away as soon as she brushed it. Arlen saw it too, his eyes wide. "You're evolving," he said softly. Zalari looked at her hands in fear. "This isn't normal," she said. "I don't feel like myself." "You might be more than you were before," Arlen said. "But what will your people think?" She didn't answer, because deep in her heart, she already knew. They would call her a traitor, a monster. They would never allow this hybrid to live, not in their perfect world. And yet, she could feel a strange connection to the life growing inside her. It was part of her now, and she would protect it at any cost, no matter what. The night was colder now. Thin silver mist floated above the jungle floor like ghostly waves. Zalari and Arlen moved through the trees in silence, each step careful, each breath held. Behind them, her own people were hunting, but they were not looking. For her, they were looking for a body. They thought Zalari had died in the crash. They didn't know she had lived. They didn't know what she was carrying inside her. They didn't know she was becoming something new. Something dangerous. After hours of walking, they reached a dark valley. At the center stood a crumbling metal tower covered in vines and moss. "This is the outpost," Zalari said, her voice low. "It was used during the war, then left to rot." Arlen stared at it, surprised. It didn't look like a safe place. It looked haunted. "Is it still working?" he asked. "Only the basement," she said. "The power cells underground might still be alive." They entered through a broken hatch in the side wall. The inside smelled of dust, rust, and time. Old weapons lay scattered on the floor, broken and forgotten. Zalari led him down a spiral staircase into the dark below. When they reached the lowest level, she found the control panel and placed her hand on it. Her palm glowed, and the console blinked to life. Soft blue lights lit the room. Arlen looked around, amazed. "This is still alive," he said. "Barely," she replied. "But it's enough." There were old medical machines, scanning tools, and a sealed lab room. "This was a research station too," she said. "I remember the stories." She sat down slowly, her hand resting on her stomach. "I need answers," she whispered. "I need to know what's happening to me." Arlen opened a scanner and moved it across her body. The screen showed something strange. The embryo had grown faster than expected. More than just a child, it was sending signals to her body, changing her, cell by cell. "You're bonding with it," Arlen said, surprised. "It's rewriting your DNA." She looked at him with fear. "Will it kill me?" "I don't think so," he said. "It needs you to live. But it's unlocking something in you." Zalari stood up and walked to the mirror on the wall. She looked at her reflection. She didn't recognize herself. Her eyes were brighter, glowing softly. Lines of light moved under her skin like liquid fire. She looked alien. Yes, but not just her species. She looked like something else. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A sound echoed from above, metal shifting, heavy steps. Arlen rushed to the monitor. "There's something outside," he said. The camera showed a tall figure in black armor standing at the entrance. A Zarin soldier, but not any soldier. It was Commander Vekros, Zalari's former trainer, and the most feared hunter in the military. "If he finds us," she began. "He won't just kill me," she said, voice flat. "He'll take the child for experiments, and he'll make sure no one ever learns the truth." Zalari took a deep breath and walked to the weapon rack. She pulled out an old plasma spear, cracked but still sharp. "I have to stop him," she said. Arlen stepped forward. "You're not fully healed," he said. "You don't even know what powers you have yet." She looked at him, her voice steady. "I don't need to know," she said. "I only need to protect this child." Suddenly, the ground shook. The outpost door above was blown open. Smoke and fire rained down the stairs. They were out of time. Zalari turned and faced the staircase. The glow in her veins became stronger, brighter. She felt fire in her chest, energy in her hands. She wasn't just an alien anymore. She wasn't just a soldier. She was becoming something new, something dangerous. "Let him come," she said. Her voice like thunder. Arlen stepped back as she walked toward the light. The air around her shimmered with power for the first time in her life. Zalari didn't feel like she was fighting for her people. She was fighting for something more, something personal, something impossible. Asterisk smoke filled the narrow halls of the underground outpost. The lights flickered and the walls trembled. Commander Vekros had entered. Heavy steps echoed through the stairwell like a drum of death. Zalari stood still, her body glowing brighter with every breath. Her hand gripped the old plasma spear. Her mind was clear, but her heart was pounding. She wasn't just fighting to survive now. She was protecting the life inside her, a child not meant to exist. A secret too dangerous for any world. Behind her, Arlen watched the monitor. Vecros is scanning the lower levels, he said. He knows someone is alive. Zalari turned to him, her eyes fierce. I will stop him, she said. No matter what it takes. Arlen opened his bag, pulling out a small energy capsule. Take this, he said. It's not a weapon, but it boosts neural flow. Your body might react fast now. She nodded and pressed the capsule against her neck. A sharp hiss, a flash of heat, then silence. Suddenly, her senses opened wide. She could hear the footsteps above, the hum of weapons, the heartbeat of the enemy. She was ready. The metal door burst open with a loud crash. Vecros stepped in tall, armored, unshaken. His mask glowed red, and his voice was cold like ice. Zalari, he said, you should be dead. I was, she replied, raising her spear, but I came back. Vecros stepped forward slowly. You disobeyed protocol, he said. You brought a human into restricted territory. You let him touch your blood. He pointed a scanner at her, then paused, confused. There's something inside you, he said. Zalari didn't speak. Vecros looked at the human, then back. At her. You're carrying a hybrid, he said, his voice turning sharp. That's not a child, he growled. That's a threat. I will end it here. He raised his weapon, but Zalari moved first. Faster than he expected, faster than she expected. She spun forward, striking with her spear. The plasma blade clashed with his armor. Sparks flying, he kicked her back, but she landed softly like a shadow. They fought like titans in a cage, metal crashing, fire raining. Each strike sent shockwaves through the walls. Arlen watched in shock. Zalari was changing. Her body moved with grace and speed not natural to her species. She was becoming something new, something more than alien. She struck again, this time breaking a piece of Vecros's armor. He staggered back, eyes wide. What are you? He shouted. Zalari didn't answer. She jumped, flipped, and landed a blow that sent him crashing to the floor. He reached for his blaster, but before he could fire, she slammed the spear into the wall beside his head. The lights exploded, sparks flew, then silence. Zalari stood over him, breathing hard. You trained me, she said. You taught me loyalty, rules, control. But you never taught me choice. She stepped back, letting him live. I'm done following, she said. I choose life. Vecros stared at her, then at the human, then at the scanner still blinking with the hybrid's data. You don't understand what's growing inside you, he warned. It's not just a child, it's evolution. Zalari paused. What do you mean? She asked. Vecros stood up slowly, wiping blood from his mouth. We knew this might happen one day, he said. The scientists, the old leaders. They warned us. If human and alien DNA mixed, something new would rise. Something stronger. Something beyond control. Zalari looked at Arlen, then back at Vecros. Then you should fear the day it's born, she said quietly, and I will make sure it sees that day. She turned and walked away. Arlen followed, leaving the stunned commander behind. They exited the outpost into the night once again. Above them, the sky was clearing. Stars appeared through the clouds, shining softly. Zalari looked up, her body glowing in the starlight. Inside her, the hybrid child pulsed with light. Strong, alive, growing faster. She could feel its heartbeat. And she could feel something else too, a voice, a presence. It was trying to speak, to connect. She closed her eyes. And for a moment, just a moment, she heard it. A whisper, not in words, but in feeling. You are not alone. The jungle was quiet, not silent but strangely peaceful, like the world was holding its breath. Zalari and Arlen moved through the glowing plants, their bodies marked with dust, scars, and something deeper. They had escaped death, defeated a commander, and protected a secret, but they were not safe, not yet. Inside her, the child grew faster each day, not just in body but in presence. Zalari could feel it, like a soft warmth in her chest, and now something new had begun. It had whispered to her, not in words but in feelings, in thoughts that were not hers. She stopped near a river, its waters glowing faintly blue under the twin Moons of Zarin 5. I need to rest, she said softly. Sitting by a stone, Arlen knelt beside her. Scanning her vitals again, her heart was strong, her cells glowing, but her eyes were distant, like she was listening to something far away. I heard it again, she said, her voice calm but heavy. The child, it's reaching out to me. Arlen looked surprised. You mean it can speak? Not exactly, she said. It feels. Like it's thinking. Like it knows I'm here. Arlen stared at her. This is impossible, he said. But so is everything else. Zilari closed her eyes, breathing slowly, the river's sound. Faded, the jungle disappeared, and in her mind she was somewhere else, floating in a dark space filled with stars. Then a soft glow appeared in front of her, a shape, a pulse, like a heart made of light. She didn't move. She just listened, and then she heard it, a voice without a voice. A whisper inside her mind, Mother. Her eyes opened, her heart racing. She looked at Arlen, shaken. It called me Mother, she said. He leaned closer. What else did it say? Zilari shook her head. Nothing. But I could feel it watching. Like, it understands more than a normal child. Arlen stood and began pacing, his mind racing. This isn't just a life form, he said. This is something. Conscious, Zilari stood slowly, her hand on her belly. Then we must protect it more than ever, she said. But something was wrong. The river's surface rippled unnaturally. The plants nearby trembled, even though there was no wind. Zilari turned. Sharply she could feel it, a cold presence nearby, something dark. Then she saw it, a creature, tall and twisted, stood across the river. It was made of black metal and flesh, wires running through its limbs, eyes glowing red. Arlen stepped back. In fear. What is that? He asked. Zilari's face went pale. It's not from my world, she said. It's a seeker, a machine built to hunt. Not humans, not aliens, but anomalies. Arlen looked at her, shocked. You mean it's looking for the hybrid? She nodded slowly. They must have activated it when Vekros reported back. The seeker stepped forward, water hissing under its feet. Zilari raised her hand, ready to fight. But then the whisper returned. Don't fight it. She froze. What? She said aloud. Arlen looked at her, confused. What did it say? It told me not to fight, she said, her voice unsteady. But the seeker kept walking. Suddenly, her hands began to glow brighter than before. The same liquid light that moved through her veins spread to her palms. The child was doing something, guiding her. Connect, the voice whispered again. She stepped forward, lifted her hand, and reached toward the creature. Arlen shouted, What are you doing? But Zilari's body moved on its own. The light in her hand stretched forward like a rope, touching the seeker's head, and then the sheen stopped. Its red eyes turned white, then soft blue. The seeker dropped to one knee like it was bowing. Zilari gasped, falling to the ground. The light faded. Arlen rushed to her. What just happened? She looked up at him, her eyes wide with wonder. The child. It didn't destroy the seeker, she said. It rewrote it. Arlen stepped back, stunned. You mean the child can control machines? She nodded slowly. Not control. She said, change, asterisk. The jungle was silent. The seeker stood still, like a statue, its eyes glowing soft blue. Zilari sat on the ground, her hand still faintly glowing. Her breath was shaky, her body tired. But something inside her was wide awake, not fear, awareness. The hybrid child had done something she didn't understand. It hadn't just stopped the seeker, it had changed it, rewritten its code without touching a single wire. Arlen paced nearby, trying to make sense of what he had just seen. This is bigger than anything I imagined, he said. Zilari looked up at him. It's not just a child. She said quietly, it's evolution. Arlen stopped, staring at her. The child connected with a machine made for war, he said, and gave it peace. Zilari nodded slowly. And if it can change machines, she said, maybe it can change minds. Suddenly, a sharp tone buzzed through the air. The seeker turned its head. like it was receiving a signal. It looked at Zalari and spoke, but its voice was no longer harsh and robotic. It was soft, like a whisper through metal. "They are coming," it said. "The council has launched a cleanse." Zalari's eyes widened. "The cleanse?" she whispered. Arlen looked confused. "What's the cleanse?" Zalari stood up, her voice tense. "It's a full military wipe," she said. "When the Zarin Council detects unknown threats, they destroy everything in a 50-mile zone, including civilians." Arlen's face went pale. "They'll kill everyone just to stop the possibility of something new." The Seeker stepped forward. "They are afraid," it said. "They fear what the child represents." Zalari looked down at her stomach, where she could feel the quiet, pulsing heartbeat of something more than just life. She clenched her fist. "They're not afraid of the child," she said. "They're afraid of change." The Seeker raised its hand and projected a map in the air. Blue lights marked locations, drones, ships, attack units moving fast. They had 2 hours before the airstrikes would begin. Arlen looked at Zalari. "We need to get out of this zone," he said, but she shook her head. "No," she said. "We need to show them the truth." Arlen's eyes narrowed. "You want to reveal the child?" he asked. "That could start a war." Zalari looked at the Seeker, then back at Arlen. "Then let it start," she said, "but not the kind of war they expect." Within the hour, they reached an abandoned Zarin tower hidden inside a cliff wall. Inside, the systems were weak, but still connected to the old council network. Zalari sat before the main screen, her hand on her belly. The child inside her whispered again. Not words, images, light, data, blueprints. Energy, change, balance. Rebirth. Then a signal moved from her mind into the machine. The tower powered on fully. Arlen stepped back as lights danced through the air. Symbols spinning, rewriting old code. "She's sending a message," he said in awe. "Not just to the council," Zalari said. "To everyone." Across the planet, Zarin citizens stopped. As screens blinked and lit up, a single image appeared: Zalari's face. Her voice echoed across satellites, streets, warships, and halls of power. "You fear the unknown, but the future doesn't ask for your permission. This child is not a weapon, not a disease, not a threat. It is what comes next, and I will protect it with peace if I can, with fire if I must." Silence followed, then alarms, then chaos. Inside the council chamber, leaders shouted over one another. "She's alive," one said. "She's broadcasting rebellion," said another. "Send the strike now," yelled the supreme commander. But then something happened. Across the battlefield zones, Seekers like the one Zalari had changed, stopped moving. Their eyes turned blue. One by one, they powered down, refusing to fight. Not broken, awakened. One turned to its captain and said, "We will not kill for fear." The war the council had planned never started, because it had already ended. Not with explosions, but with a signal, with a whisper, with a choice. The world stood still. Across Zarin 5, ships hovered in the air without orders. Soldiers froze, unsure whether to fire or listen. The council's voice was silent, drowned by a louder one, a voice without anger, a voice of change in a forgotten mountain cave, lit only by bioluminescent plants. Zalari was breathing fast. She was lying on soft moss, her hands pressed against the warm earth. Her body trembled not with fear, but with power. "The time is now," she whispered. Arlen knelt beside her, a scanner in one hand, the other steadying her shoulder. "The child." "It's coming," he said, barely believing his own words. "Faster than I thought, but—" "It's ready." Zalari closed her eyes, tears forming at the edges. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't alone. The child inside her was guiding her, holding her from within, like it knew what to do more than she ever could. Outside the cave, the sky cracked open, not with thunder but with light. Clouds parted in silence, and a soft blue glow fell over the land, not from the sun, but from them. The Seekers, once feared machines, now hovered in the sky, unmoving, glowing, silent witnesses, symbols. Of the world before and the world after, Solari's cries filled the cave. But they were not cries of pain, they were cries of creation. Arlen's hands shook as he watched something impossible unfold. Not just birth, but emergence. A glow spread through the cave floor, touching the walls, the rocks, even the plants. Very air hummed like a song from another universe. Then silence. Solari gasped and looked down. In her arms lay a child, not crying, not weak, but calm, eyes open, glowing faintly golden blue. Its skin was smooth, neither fully alien nor human. Its heartbeat was strong, and yet gentle. Arlen leaned closer, speechless. "He's beautiful," he whispered. Solari nodded slowly, her arms trembling. "He's everything," she said. The child blinked, then reached a small hand toward Solari's face. And in that moment, she saw everything, not in images, not in language, but in pure feeling. She saw cities floating above oceans, people of all kinds, human, alien, machine, walking together, laughing, sharing, learning. She saw wars ending without weapons. She saw ideas flowing like rivers, not borders, and she saw her child standing in the middle of it all, silent, strong and kind, not a ruler, not a god, but a bridge, a living link between everything divided. Then the vision faded, and her child smiled. Arlen stood up, his heart pounding. "They'll still come," he said. "The council won't stop easily." Solari looked up at the sky through the opening in the cave. "I know," she said, "but they're too late, far away." In the cold halls of the council chamber, the leaders argued and shouted. "Her child is a threat." "No, it's a chance. It could unite us or destroy us." But even as they screamed, their systems failed to locate her. The machines refused to obey. The seeker units had gone silent, waiting, watching, guarding something sacred. And the people had seen her broadcast. They had heard her words. And some had listened, some had changed. Back in the cave, the child slept, its glow dimming softly. Solari leaned against the wall, tired but complete. Arlen sat nearby, writing notes, but also watching the stars. "What will you name him?" he asked quietly. Solari looked at the child, then at the sky. "I won't name him," she said. "He'll name himself when he's ready." They both smiled, and above them, the stars pulsed, gently, like they knew something had begun, something small, something powerful, not an ending, but a beginning.